It's 90 seconds to midnight. Not literally, obviously, we're not in Svalbard. But according to the Doomsday Clock, the international indicator of how close we are to a man-made global catastrophe, we're at the closest point to disaster in history since the clock was first unveiled in 1947. So in its 2024 statement, the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, which is the organisation behind the Doomsday Clock, had this to say: ominous trends continue to point the world towards global catastrophe. The war in Ukraine and the widespread and growing reliance on nuclear weapons increase the risk of nuclear escalation. China, Russia and the United States are all spending huge sums to expand or modernise their nuclear arsenals, adding to the ever-present danger of nuclear war through mistake or miscalculation. Leaders and citizens around the world should take this statement as a stark warning, as if today were the most dangerous time in history, because it may well be. You ever seen a knocker that old, Sanja?
No.
I have. Around 40 of the UK's nukes are ready to launch at any given time, with another 120 or so on standby. But that still leaves 100 or so nuclear warheads unaccounted for. So where are they? Well, many of them end up here in Aldermaston, Berkshire, because this pretty little village with its hanging baskets and BBC Sunday night rural detective drama vibe is right next to the UK's main nuclear bomb factory. It begs the question, how would you feel living on top of enough firepower to destroy the world? The presence of the atomic weapon establishment, Aldermaston, or for short, is a double-edged sword for the local community. It brings jobs and economic security and contributes to the local community. But it also brings with it an anxiety that never fully goes away. Earlier this year, the atomic weapons establishment objected to local council plans to build 475 new homes in the area, stating ominously, whilst chances of a radiation emergency are very low, the potential impact on the local population would be high. Along with their Indian takeaway menus and guttering advert leaflets, the residents of Aldermaston receive through their doors on a semi-regular basis a little blue pamphlet that runs to about 11 pages. And it instructs them on everything that they should do in the event of a nuclear accident. According to the Radiation Emergency Preparedness and Public Information Regulations, in the event of a nuclear emergency, an area of just under a mile in radius is the minimum distance covered by the local emergency plan, with a second zone of around 10 miles, within which residents are recommended to take urgent protective action. People are instructed, as soon as is practical, to immediately take cover in a suitable building and to stay indoors with windows and doors properly sealed for up to 2 days. Due to the possibility of passing radiation onto their infant, breastfeeding mothers are also told to use only formula milk until the emergency is deemed to have passed. Worryingly, a government paper stated there will be approximately 800 seconds from the initiation of the event until the leading edge of the plume travels to the minimum distance recommended for urgent action. There could be no time for the public to find suitable shelter. There's another little paragraph that's sort of buried in amidst this literature, which says that the government reserves the right, in the event of a nuclear accident or emergency at Aldermaston, to withhold information on it from the public. So basically, if an accident does happen at the atomic weapons establishment, they might never even tell us about it.
800 seconds, what's that in minutes?
I did have it in the bloody thing and I took it out because I thought it's going to slow everything down if I translate everything. It is like everything in my notes have all been in kilometres and then in brackets in miles, and it was just getting silly, Sanja.
Okay, sorry. So
How many? It was
800
60 seconds in. This is not really what the video is about. 60 seconds in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
well,
not.
800
Let me look on
divided
the
by 60.
calculator.
No, this is not what the video's about. It's not. It's not a maths lesson on that's the sort of thing that would give me anxiety at school.
48,000. That's not
What
right.
have you done?
That's not right.
It's 48,000 minutes. 800 seconds, according to
That's
Sanja,
not right.
is 48,000 minutes. Basically, in researching this, there are all sorts of rabbit holes I could have gone down, or I had to kind of limit what I was doing. But there are things like they're by the time that they've got the news that, oh my God, we've got a leak, oh my God, there's a radioactive cloud in the sky, by the time they've told the emergency services and they've leapt into action, there might not be enough time to inform the public,
The residents.
before they're irradiated, basically.
Which is why they have to stay in their house.
Well, no,
with
this is
sealed
no.
windows and doors
You're
instead
missing
of
the point.
Instead
You're
of leaving the
you're
town.
missing the point.
Okay.
They're not allowed to leave the town.
No, I know. They have to stay inside their
No,
house.
but you're missing the point.
Yeah.
They may not even know that they've got to stay inside the house, because by the time they're informed, by the time the alarms have gone off,
It's too late.
It's too late.
How would you feel living here?
Don't know. Well, the traffic's terrible. And I've just touched bird shit. Jesus Christ.
No, it's good luck.
No, it's good luck if it shits on you. It's bad luck if
Well,
it's...
it is on you, sort of. It's just on you, not directly from the birds.
So if
so-
I stuck my finger up a bird's
You'd get
Would that
you'd
be
get
good
good
luck?
luck, and technically, according to superstition, lots of money or some money.
Well, I've done that, haven't I?
Oh, do you want to tell everyone this
I must
your
have.
lovely
Some people know
Cadbury
this
story? Oh, I just can't.
When I was about 15, I came home from school early, and everyone was out, and I'd forgotten my key, so I climbed over the back gate and went into the back garden, and I sat down and I opened up my copy of Computer and Video Games magazine, and I opened a page and there was like creamy stuff like between the pages, and I'd earlier that day had Cadbury's mini roll, which is, you know, cream and chocolate. This was kind of white and brown, and I figured some of it had got inside of my pages of Computer and Video Games, and before I could realise what I was doing, I just licked it off and immediately realised that isn't Cadbury's mini roll. For over 50 years, AWE Aldermaston has been the liver, lungs and J-hole of the UK nuclear weapons programme. What you see at the facility is just the nipple tip of the iceberg. The really secretive, heinous stuff takes place deep underground. So, we're just driving past the atomic weapons establishment, Aldermaston. Already there are, oh God, it goes on for miles. I've just seen this is another bit.
It's absolutely massive.
We drove past a big blue sign which had a mushroom cloud on it.
Yeah.
Like literally, you know, on the fence. It's just weird to think literally underneath us now. I mean, no one knows because it's classified how far the tunnels go. But there are hundreds of nuclear bombs potentially, or up to 100. Warheads right under us now.
It's enough to wipe us all out.
Yeah.
Not just this country, but
So this is the main gate. I mean, there's nothing really to see because it all happens underground. It's just as you expect, high security. Bear in mind, this is like, you know, a terrorist target. It's a strategic target for Russia, for instance. I was reading as well, like if this got hit by a nuclear missile, by a warhead, it would set off a chain reaction. You know, the radiation would be compounded because of what's in there.
I believe that.
I wonder how deep it goes, as in whether it's shielded. I'd get out and video it, but I don't really want a conversation with the police. If that's all right with everybody, I'm not feeling very sociable. I'm just going to pull over here so this car behind.
I think this is where the mushroom cloud was.
Oh, it's not a mushroom.
It's
cloud.
not. It's a.
It's a cycle helmet. That's amazing. We were like, my God, there's a mushroom cloud on that side, and it was a cycle helmet. In terms of the numbers of warheads that might be in there, it's split kind of evenly between here and Burfield, which I actually haven't mentioned in the video yet. But it's basically the two. They're the two main bomb factories.
Okay. Where's Burfield?
Oh, about 10 minutes away.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah.
People living in this area don't stand a chance.
No, they're effectively
Your
one
niece lives in
facility.
this area.
You've got kind of bunkers in there as well, what look like bunkers covered in grass.
Like,
Okay, there's a guy behind me.
grass
There's a guy behind me
mounds.
throwing his hands up because I'm not going at 50 miles an hour, which is the speed limit. Sorry, I'm going slowly. Don't throw your hands up at me, mister. Ugh. Because it's basically the main employer of this area.
Yeah.
They do a lot of kind of community stuff. There's like a AWE Aldermaston like football team, and yeah, they do a lot for the local area in the interest of sort of public relations.
Right.
You know, and you go on the official site, and just like the Sellafield one, it's all kind of smiley, happy people, you know, living their best life. It looks like a kind of Gillette advert.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Don't flash me! He's flashing me now, the guy behind.
Because he thinks you're going to...
He flashed me as I was going over a roundabout. Sorry I didn't speed over the roundabout. There you are, mate. Fine, I'm up at 50. Jesus. No, now it's down to 40. Tough luck. Haha. That was worth it, wasn't it? This is Heath End. This estate basically is opposite, literally the road opposite one of the main gates of the atomic weapons establishment at Aldermaston. So the reason why the facility exists is that nuclear warheads actually have quite a short shelf life. So like Trigger's broom, they need to be constantly refurbished and have parts replaced. So when they're in need of a bit of a spit and polish, they're brought here to Burfield and Aldermaston. So the warheads are brought here by road on convoys, where they're worked on before being redeployed to submarines. Normally we only have one submarine that's patrolling the waters of the world at any one time, although they can contain 40 warheads each. Or they're sent to storage at the Naval Armaments Facility in Coalport, Scotland. So you might ask, what could possibly go wrong? Well, depends who you ask. If you ask the government or the Ministry of Defence, nothing. If you ask an idiot, they'd probably go like, hippy soup. If you ask a former worker of AWE Aldermaston, they might say lung cancer. I think it might be a
What are you looking at?
It was a giant spider, like I've never seen before, like a giant orange spider.
I can't see it.
Well, it's gone now, it's run away. There it is. One thing we know can't happen is a nuclear explosion in the traditional mushroom cloud sense, due to the way the weapons are designed. As you'd expect, the safety protocols are really stringent, and the work on the weapons is all done during basically your normal office hours, with the weapons stored securely overnight. So basically they're all tucked up in bed by 6 p.m. with a glass of warm milk like the Seven Dwarfs. Nasty, blasty, explodey, radiation-y Oppenheimer, O'Sullivan and Tot.
Sorry. Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, O'Sullivan and Tot.
Imagine that was the alarm for the base. Sounds exactly like an ice cream van. So in a confidential 2015 Ministry of Defence report, they wrote, "We live in an environment of appreciable risks of various kinds, which contribute to a background level of risk. Indeed, there are many activities which people are prepared to accept in their daily lives for the benefits they bring. For example, using gas and electricity or engaging in air travel. This was basically a report into how safe Aldermaston was. So what they're basically saying that even though there's potentially up to 100 nuclear weapons on that base at any one time, it's more dangerous to go on holiday or cook a special sausage. Nevertheless, the best laid plans of radioactive mice and men do often go awry. Between 1960 and 1991 alone, there were a reported 20 mess-ups involving the UK's nuclear weapons. The alarm's gone off. Nuclear warheads have been dropped, knocked into one another, and on one occasion, a truck carrying nuclear warheads, brakes failed, it rolled backwards down a hill and toppled over because apparently Mr. Bean is in charge of transporting nuclear weapons around the country. In 2013, the Atomic Weapons Establishment in Aldermaston and the Royal Ordnance Factory in Burfield, ROFL for short, were placed into special measures following safety concerns by the Office for Nuclear Regulation. 11 years later, like a school whose kids won't stop stabbing each other with compasses or drawing swastikas in the history books, Aldermaston is still in special measures today, and for good reason. Now imagine this, but like more fire, like more on fire. Like flames and that. Imagine that, but like on fire. In 1978, plutonium was found in the lungs of 12 workers from Aldermaston. A report into the site's safety was scathing and found serious flaws, including a ventilation system that literally blew radioactive particles into employees' faces. One of those workers was a woman called Vera Allen. She'd worked at Aldermaston in the laundry department from 1965 to 1978, and she died in 1991 of breast and lymph cancer. Another 2 workers from Aldermaston died in 1979, one from abdominal cancer and another from a rare form of rectal stroke bum cancer, and another in 1980 succumbed.
I don't think that's appropriate.
Further government report in 1989 concluded there's a small but statistically significant increase into the incidence of childhood leukemia and other childhood cancers in the vicinity of the Atomic Weapons Establishment, Aldermaston and the RAF Burfield. A later study put the rate at around 50% higher than the national average. Look at that! Bit of the old base. Some sort of fire hydrant. Is it just me or has this place got a weird vibe? It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Definitely a weird vibe.
If you don't know where we are, we're revealing that shortly. But this is another place that is a big part of Britain's nuclear story, where we are. It wasn't always a whatever this is. I'll give you a clue. It's a common. Not common like Sanja is, but it's a common. In 1993, scientists at Aldermaston discovered that shavings of highly enriched uranium, one of the most deadly and volatile substances on Earth, had fallen into a tank of oil beneath a lathe while they were being shaped to be fitted into warheads. And it was only by a miracle that it hadn't triggered a nuclear chain reaction, causing all sorts of shit. Had fission occurred on that occasion, it would have irradiated the area for miles around, including nearby Reading with a population of 340,000 people. And depending on weather patterns and wind, it could have even reached London, which is only 45, 50 miles away. Since 2003, very few accidents have been reported from Aldermaston. That doesn't mean they haven't happened. Because if there's one thing we know about the Ministry of Defence is that it goes out of its way to avoid scrutiny. Over the years, some atomic weapons establishment employees who developed cancer have filed legal actions, but AWE Aldermaston has worked in conjunction with the Treasury to defend any such claims. If an employee died, the Treasury solicitor would advise the coroner on necessary investigations, including analysis of organs removed during post-mortem examinations, often without the permission of the deceased's families. The 2010 Redfern inquiry, which we covered in the excellent Sellafield video that we made, which you can go and watch now. I'm assuming I'm pointing to it, or if it's not there, I've forgotten to do it, or I couldn't work out how to do it, or I've just put a link below. But it found that the Treasury and the government and the atomic weapons establishment were mostly focused on protecting themselves from claims for death or injury. The Redfern inquiry also revealed that the atomic weapons establishment and the wider nuclear industry had concerns about the health of their workers when exposed.
Smooth.
While publicly stating that low levels of radiation was fine, in secret they were concerned that regular exposure to that radiation could have severe health consequences. I mean, duh. But how did we get here? How did Aldermaston, which is licensed to pump small amounts of radioactive contaminated effluents into local waterways, how did it get chosen? Why here? Why was Aldermaston chosen as the UK's very own Los Alamos? These cows have turned their back on me, it's rude. So during World War II, British scientists started exploring the possibility of creating a nuclear weapon, but lacked the resources to actually build one. In fact, it was Britain, because we love making the world worse, that convinced the Americans that such a project was feasible. So the British project, Tube Alloys, was shut down, and we lent our technology and research and scientists to America for the Manhattan Project. And we all know what happened next.
A short time ago, an American airplane dropped one bomb on Hiroshima and destroyed its usefulness to the enemy. That bomb has more power than 20,000 tons of TNT. The Japanese began the war from the air at Pearl Harbor. They have been repaid many-fold. What has been done is the greatest achievement of organized science in history.
So following World War II, even though we'd helped the Americans blow up Nagasaki and Hiroshima, the US passed something called the McMahon Act, which banned the sharing of nuclear knowledge, effectively shutting us out of the nuclear members club. So, not to be outdone, always wanting to punch above its weight and impress people, Britain started up its own bona fide nuclear program, a bit like a kid trying to impress its parents by sort of wriggling around on the floor going, look at what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing, Mum! Monty, get up. Look what I'm doing. Get off the floor. I haven't hoovered. Look what I'm doing, Mum. You want the visitors to see you squirming around like a big slug? I'm a worm, Mum. You're going to scuff the laminate flooring. Get up. Look what I'm doing, Mum. Look, you're getting your trousers all dirty. Monty, get off the floor. Mum, get off the floor. Get off the floor, Monty. Get off the floor. Get off the floor. Look what I'm doing. Why are you still squirming, Monty? Stop squirming on the floor. Why are you laughing? Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me! Mum! So in 1950, RAF Aldermaston, which had been an air base during World War II and helped in the D-Day invasion, was chosen as the site of the UK's very own Manhattan Project, primarily because it already had the infrastructure in place, but also because of its, at the time, relative isolation. Reading. All right. So UK scientists devised the first British nuclear bomb, which was based upon America's Fat Man bomb that was dropped on Nagasaki. Rather than continue the whole body shaming trend by calling its nuclear weapon lard arse or Captain Sweaty Moobs or Thunder Thighs or something like that, Britain called its first nuclear bomb Blue Danube, and it was successfully detonated in 1952 off of the coast of Australia, making us the world's third nuclear state. Cue the arms race and the world being locked in a permanent state of mutually assured destruction, like a Mexican standoff with really big bullets. So the UK's first nuke, Blue Danube, had an estimated yield of about 10 to 12 kilotons of TNT. By comparison, the warheads carried on the UK's current Trident missiles have a yield of about 100 kilotons. So they're 10 times more powerful. I'm going to have to read some of this because I can't remember it all, because there's lots of numbers and my brain goes. So to put it into perspective, right, the immediate blast from Blue Danube could have flattened buildings, so chicken joints, tanning salons, vape shops, all of it, within a radius of approximately 1 to 2 kilometres, or about 0.75 miles from the point of detonation. So that's everything. Up to nearly a mile away, just gone. The heat generated by that explosion would cause severe burns and start fires over a wider area, potentially affecting people and structures up to 2 kilometres or 1.2 miles away. So basically everything on fire, up to 1.2 miles from the point of detonation. So in a densely populated area, Blue Danube could have killed tens of thousands of people instantly, with many more affected by injuries, burns, subsequent fires. I mean, they say that in a nuclear explosion, a lot of the injuries are caused by flying glass. The death toll could reach between 50,000 to 100,000 or more, depending on the city's size and population density. And as in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, obviously there would be long-term consequences from radiation and fallout for decades. However, a single Trident warhead, bear in mind that each Trident missile has multiple warheads, could cause complete destruction within a radius of approximately 3.5 kilometres, or about 2.2 miles. That's everything gone for a radius of 2 miles. One warhead. From the detonation point, and buildings would be flattened, almost nothing, basically nothing. Nothing would survive in those 2 miles. Just everything gone. So the thermal effects would cause severe burns and ignite fires up to 8 kilometres or about 5 miles away from ground zero. A Trident warhead detonation in a large city could result in hundreds of thousands of deaths instantly. Not over time, instantly. In a densely populated area, the death toll could be in the range of 200,000 to 500,000 or higher, with many more suffering from injuries and radiation sickness. The UK currently has 260 Trident warheads. Russia has about 6,000. And if you haven't just shit yourself, you've got a much stronger sphincter than I do.
Oh,
fuck. Disgusting. Everyone's a critic.
Sorry for doing this next bit on voiceover, but on the day our mic ran out of battery. So, in July 2024, our new Labour government reaffirmed its commitment to a nuclear deterrent, and it launched a strategic defence review to examine the efficiency and effectiveness of the UK's nuclear programme. The UK does not have a policy of no first use, deeming such a posture to be incompatible with NATO's official doctrine of deterrence. In March 2024, the previous Conservative government said it would keep our nuclear posture under review in light of the international security environment and the actions of potential adversaries, while remaining committed to the ultimate goal of a world without nuclear weapons. I mean, nothing like leading by example, right? So, the UN's Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons was adopted on the 7th of July 2017. It's the first multilateral legally binding instrument for nuclear disarmament to have been negotiated for 20 years. The treaty prohibits state parties from developing, testing, producing, manufacturing, acquiring, possessing, stockpiling, transferring or receiving control over nuclear weapons or other nuclear explosive devices. It also prohibits them from using or threatening to use such weapons. As of today, 92 countries have signed up to it. Notably, the UK is not among them. So we've come to the former RAF Greenham Common, if you hadn't guessed already. You might recognise it as the home of the Resistance in the Star Wars sequel, The Force Awakens. But for those of us who grew up in the Cold War, it's perhaps most famous for its own legacy of resistance from nuclear weapons. AWE Aldermaston has been a focal point of controversy ever since the beginning. During the Cold War, its operations sparked significant public opposition, contributing to the rise of anti-nuclear movements across the UK. In April 1958, thousands of demonstrators marched 50 miles from Trafalgar Square to the site at Aldermaston to protest against nuclear weapons, which helped to galvanise public opinion against nukes and led to the growth of the campaign for nuclear disarmament. In the early 1980s, RAF Greenham Common became the focal point of international attention when it was selected as the site for the deployment of 96 US ground-launched nuclear cruise missiles. This decision led to the establishment of the Greenham Common Women's Peace Camp in 1981, a protest movement that lasted for nearly 2 decades and became emblematic of the global anti-nuclear movement. The Peace Camp was marked by non-violent direct action, including blockades, demonstrations and symbolic acts such as cutting through the base's perimeter fence. Over the years, the women faced legal challenges, evictions and confrontations with the authorities, but their persistence made Greenham Common a powerful symbol of grassroots activism and non-violent protest. Inspiring similar movements around the world, their actions put pressure on governments both in the UK and internationally to reconsider their nuclear policies. The 1991 removal of US nuclear missiles from UK soil following the signing of the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty between the US and Soviet Union marked a significant step towards disarmament. The Greenham women's protest is often credited with helping to maintain public pressure for such treaties. Unfortunately, with the global situation such as it is, there are plans to return US nuclear weapons to the UK, with facilities at RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk currently being upgraded for their arrival.
Oh my goodness, it's Leaf.
I am Leaf, Earth Shaman. I am. Am I late for the protests? Against the nuclear. Oh, there's bloody people coming. The protest. There's people coming, Sanja.
I think the protests ended a long time ago.
Do you mean? Is that a cruise missile above? Oh Jesus! There's a couple with their dogs, Sanja.
Seems like you've lost your confidence, Lee.
Well, I can't imagine why. It's the people over there with their dog looking. I'm Leaf. Leaf. Peace protester. War, leaf it out. I'm here at Greenham Common to protest with my sisters. I thought I'd do a bit, kind of, another bloody car turn. What is this, Dogging Central?
The car park is full of cars.
Man, this is the worst. Leaf! Earth Shaman! This place has not been this busy. This place has not been this busy so far. I am Leaf, Earth Shaman and Peace Protester. I am... Don't laugh at me. I'm trying to show that there's a better way than violence.
What are you here to do with the cruise missiles?
I'm here to shut the cruise missiles down with the power of love and drumming. I'm going to put up dream catchers all along the fence and I will catch the bad dreams. There's the people everywhere. Everywhere.
You're attracting people to the protest?
Yes. Come one, come all to Leaf's Peace Camp. I've set up a new peace camp here at RAF Greenham Common in the grand tradition of my peaceful sisters. Oh, Jesus, there's a car go past. Oh, he just looked right over. I've set up Leaf's Peace Camp where 24 hours a day, drumming circles, transcendental meditation, crystal rubbing, henna tattoos, non-contact violence, peaceful violence, non-contact. Leave. Away with you, cruise missiles! If you don't want American nuclear missiles on British soil, if you don't want nukes on your doorstep, the Greenham women proved that collectively our voices are louder than theirs and we can make a difference if we come together. You can do it peacefully, protest non-violently about the things that you disagree with. You know, I mean, look around this, I hesitate to say beautiful common. It's full of gorse and cow shit everywhere. But it is a common, it's free for people to come to and enjoy. Whereas before it was a military base that had 96 nuclear cruise missiles stationed here. And the control tower behind me, that's now a cafe. You know, this is because of the actions of thousands of furious women who had no access to running water and were forced to shit in buckets and bushes. I mean, probably. Be inspired. So what do you think? You reckon you could live next to a nuclear bomb factory? While you're thinking about the question, why not click the subscribe button and the notification bell? Better yet, why not become a channel member or sign up to our Patreon where you get blogs and exclusive videos and all sorts of other stuff. And it really helps us fund more visits to depressing places. Bye.